Hello everyone, Juxtaposition here. Today's video we're going to discuss the infamous media-labeled Zodiac murder case, which involved 4 events which subsequently became labeled Zodiac. They weren't labeled Zodiac at the beginning. Very much like the Sharon Tate, Abigail Folger, Leno LaBianca murders were not labeled Manson family killings for 4 months. There was a 4 months pause and had nothing to do with the police detective investigation of the Sharon Tate murders. That did lead to quite a few suspects. I believe almost 24 suspects, none of whom actually committed the murder, were on the list. They were good suspects, though, like round up the usual suspects. But the Charlie Manson case, whose name is really Charles Miles Maddox, in case you wanted to get your footnotes correct, it was all decided behind closed doors in secret, clandestine session. How do we conceal a NATO Operation Gladio bayonet attack in Benedict Canyon at a CIA-controlled property military complex known as Cielo Drive, Sunbrook Drive, Bella Drive, and repeat the incident 36 hours later at 3301 Waverly Drive, also a military-controlled neighborhood where Roy and Walt Disney began their Hollywood careers. In that exact neighborhood where Leno LaBianca, a 6-foot-tall, 235-pound military policeman, was bayoneted 10 times to his chest, with his wrist tied behind his back by the M7 bayonet holster ligature. I believe he was chloroformed. There is no way that he is going to sit there calmly while you bayonet him 10 times to his chest and bayonet his wife 41 times. Rosemary was bayoneted 41 times. Her hands and wrists tied with the lamp cords in the bedroom. At Leno's mother's house, not their house. They lived in the Walt Disney Mansion. That's what I said. Rosemary LaBianca and her third husband, Leno, his second wife, they lived at 4053 Woking Way in the Walt Disney Mansion, 6,000 square foot home, okay? They had just sold it. And that is why they were in a temporary transition period whilst they moved into a horse farm in San Diego, North County, down by Camp Pendleton, United States Marine Base. That's 2 hours away, south. Meaning they were quitting. They were quitting their work in the money laundering business for CIA drug distribution using motorcycle groups, straight Satans out of Venice Beach and Satan slaves out of the San Fernando Valley Porn Center for Hollywood. Those 2 motorcycle clubs were working with private bankers to launder the proceeds from drugs which came from CIA sources, which undoubtedly came through the port facilities and or military air bases. Anyway, what you need to know is that Zodiac operation was going on simultaneously before and during and after the Sharon Tate killings, as was the reporting of the My Lai massacre, which had happened a year and a half earlier, before the Robert Kennedy assassination. Before that, we had the My Lai massacre on March 16th, 1968. But nobody knew about it because Walter Cronkite and the CBS Evening Masonic Eye hadn't reported it yet. They didn't get around to reporting it until September 7th, 1969, a full month after Sharon Tate's murder. So you see, as far as the clueless population of the American people knew, they were thinking Sharon Tate, My Lai massacre, Zodiac. When the reality is, in real time, it's My Lai massacre, Zodiac operation, because there is no Zodiac killer. There is no Zodiac killer. There are a team of professional killers operating as units or divisions for the military who perform events. And believe me, there are hundreds of other murders that were never reported in the media. Just like the My Lai massacre, perhaps, was never going to be reported in the media, ever. There's 504 dead innocent civilians killed on a Saturday morning, March 16th, 1968, in the hamlets of My Lai, mostly women and children, pregnant women, and older men. And they shot pigs at My Lai also. So you got dead pigs, you got dead chickens, you got 504 dead, mostly women, and you have a brave helicopter pilot named Hugh Thompson who pointed the business end of his gunner's 50 caliber machine gun and ordered cease and desist. Otherwise, we would have had 850 dead people at My Lai. Anyway, they blamed it all on a 5'3" William Calley. He did it. And he was a second lieutenant of like 45 days, the most junior person in the officer category. And Captain Medina, who gets represented by F. Lee Bailey, who represented O.J. Simpson, he gets an acquittal for Ernest Medina, who's a captain and the senior officer in field at My Lai, acquitted. Even though there were numerous witnesses who testified that Ernest Medina shot an unarmed, guarded with 2 United States Army soldiers, woman, shot her in the face with his M16 rifle. And he said, oh, she looked like she's going to pull a hand grenade. She'd already been searched. She'd been pulled out of a ditch. And she's guarded by 2 Army soldiers. And the captain, senior officer in charge, shoots her in the face. And he's acquitted for murder. And they blamed the whole incident on, 23, 24-year-old William Calley, who's a complete, novice, beginner, under 6 months in field, and, scapegoat. The scapegoat. We didn't have that with the Zodiac operation. They never arrested a scapegoat. They didn't make an arraignment or a charade trial like they did for the Charlie Manson case or the Sirhan case, when it was actually Thane Eugene Caesar murdered Robert Kennedy by shooting him behind his right ear at the Ambassador Hotel around 12:15 a.m. on June 5th, 1968. So in chronological order in real time, My Lai massacre, Robert Kennedy assassination, the first series of Zodiac killings, December 20th, 1968, followed by the 4th of July, followed by immediately the Sharon Tate murders, and then right after that we have the reporting of the My Lai massacre, and then we have the killing of the Paul Stine Yellow Cab Company taxi driver. Paul Stine, who the media told you he's 29 years old, and that's about it. Well, I'm going to tell you that he's 38 years old. He lives in Haight-Ashbury, specifically lived at 1842 Fell Street, 1 block from Masonic Avenue, Haight-Ashbury, near University of San Francisco Jesuit College, University, and 2.5 blocks from the Haight-Ashbury Free Medical Clinic, which means it's the Haight-Ashbury Project for CIA. And that Paul Lee Stine is Jewish, just like Louis Jolion West is Jewish, just like Bill Graham, whose real name is Wolf Grudjonka, he's Jewish. And they're all working at the Haight-Ashbury Project at the same exact time that Paul Stine, the yellow cab driver, is working there too. So you got Paul Stine, who is sacrificed, a Jewish cab driver. It's his cover, probably. And he's picked up by a military soldier. He picks up a fare. They can't even get the story straight, whether it was at Union Square, whether it's the Bohemian Club, the Olympic Club, St. Francis Hotel. Could have been that, could have been that, could have been Taylor, could have been Mason and Post, could have been Geary and Mason Street, or it could have been the Fairmont Hotel on Nob Hill, and maybe that's where he got picked up. That's where the Masonic Scottish Rites Auditorium is, right? Right, it is. At 1111 California Street, where the Flood Mansion is at 1000 California Street, the Flood Mansion, right across the street from the Fairmont Hotel. It doesn't make any difference. The distance from the Fairmont Hotel to where Paul Stine was murdered at the corner of Cherry and Washington Streets, specifically at 3898 Washington Street, 3898. You can Google that, it'll come up. Anyway, where he was murdered and bled out into the gutter there, it's 3 miles exactly to the Fairmont Hotel in Nob Hill. It's 3 miles exactly to the Bohemian Club at 624 Taylor Street. If you Google that, you won't get it. It'll come up 629. It'll put you across the street and down the block. That is why if you want to know what my video content is all about, you're going to have to hit the link below and go over to BitChute or to Rumble, where I'm going to post my video regarding Paul Lee Stine, a Jewish cab driver who was sacrificed with a 9mm pistol, probably a Browning, at and around 9:55 p.m. on a Saturday night, October 11th, 1969. I cannot post that content on YouTube. It will be banned. I will be issued a strike, and I don't want to have that happen. Google and YouTube do have algorithms which will designed to conceal the truth and promote poppycock, and that is why this video cannot be heard here. You have to go somewhere else if you want to hear the truth. If you want to hear poppycock, I think they have about 1,000 Charlie Manson Did It videos, or William Calley is a demon, or satanic worshiper. That is allowed on the YouTube platform, but my content is not welcome. So hit the link below if you want to hear more about Paul Lee Stine and the circumstances leading up to his death, and the fact that he lived 2.5 blocks away from the free medical clinic, which is a CIA operation, and 1 block from where Kevin Collins was kidnapped on Masonic Avenue and Oak, where Patricia Hearst, when she was kidnapped by the SLA, she lived at 1235 Masonic Avenue, 2.5 blocks from Paul Stine's house. That's where Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead had a house, right by Patricia Hearst's house. That's where Janis Joplin had a home. Okay? And Patricia Hearst also lived at 1827 Golden Gate Avenue. That's near University of San Francisco. That's also very close proximity to Paul Stine, his home at 1842 Fell Street. And you'll learn that the death certificate of Paul Stine has been edited and tampered. It says, it reads that he's 29 years old when it states his birth date is December 18th, 1930. That makes him 38 years old. His photographs look like he's 48 years old. They put down that he resided at 1842 Fall Street when he lived on Fell Street. There is no Fall Street anywhere in San Francisco County, so that was a mendacity. That's just like Timothy Leary's death certificate reads that he died at 10106 Sunbrook Avenue. There are no avenues in Benedict Canyon. The address of 10106 Sunbrook Drive is 35 seconds away from the Abigail Folger bayonet murder, and that's probably why they don't want you to know that Timothy Leary lived at the Sharon Tate murder scene. He did, right down the hill. You know, less than 100 yards, you know, like more like 150 feet away. I mean, he's right there. He's adjacent to the property. All right, if you want that kind of content, you know, please subscribe to my other channels. I got Rumble and I got BitChute, and I got 3 channels there, and I got Rumble, so I got 4 other alternatives for you. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.